I'm not going to read this shit. What? Oh, we're recording? All right. Welcome to yet another webcast. Reminds me, the music business is a cruel and shallow money trench, a long plastic hallway where thieves and pimps run free and good men die like dogs. There's also a negative side. Hunter S. Thompson. Before we get started, the band would like to thank members of the collective for submitting their well-thought-out questions. Unfortunately, they can't answer any of them. Actually, unfortunately, out of the hundreds of questions received, many of these can't be answered at this time. Questions having to do with specifics such as the name of the new CD, titles of individual songs, guest musicians, producers, engineers, cover artwork, the color of shoes worn during overdose, etc. That's because right now, during the initial writing stage, it's still too early in the entire process for these kind of things to be known. Even Nostradamus didn't know these things.
Nostradamus?
Nostradamus. Well, actually, he might have. I'm still on the clock examining the various quatrains, hoping to tease out a relevant passage. All right. Right now, the band's been jamming for a couple of months, so at this point, someone thought they'd check in with them, see how things are going. So I'm talking to Danny, Adam, and Justin right now. Ready?
And these are all questions from the...
It's a considerably positive piece in comparison to the previous albums, both musically and visually. Color scheme, for example. Will the next album continue with this progression? Danny?
Depends on what drugs we take.
Cut. I thought it was going to be so positive that it was going to be called Stairway to Heaven. You want to answer that, Adam?
I think it's still early to tell. Each album kind of has its own feeling.
It's different to different people as well. Some people think it's a really dark album, the last one, you know? So it's interesting to hear that someone thinks it's really positive. So who knows how the next one will be interpreted.
Are there any particular inspirations for the writing process this time around?
Nothing in particular. It's like pretty much life in general.
As I said,
It's just another job, huh?
Yeah.
All right. During the writing process, is there somewhat of a formula that works best for you as far as the early stages of developing a song? Do individual members bring in separate ideas and build them from there? Or are there initial ideas born right there in the rehearsal space once you have all convened to create?
Both. We all bring in lots of ideas and we jam them a lot and we tear them apart and put them back together, and sometimes in the process we come up with spontaneity, completely fresh, new idea.
Do any of you employ any meditative processes prior to a show or prior to writing, rehearsal, or recording session that help you in focusing your energy into the music? And in a similar vein, to what degree do visualizations play a role in the creative process?
I think it works both ways. You know, a lot of time the music gives rise to the visuals, but then sometimes if you're inspired by art or something you see, sometimes it can give you an idea musically also. There's no rules to it though.
Well, as far as like preparing for a show, I think everybody has their own way of doing it, but it is a kind of meditation, you know, however long you take before the show to get prepared. It's normally a pretty, it's kind of a thought out process that calms you and prepares you and kind of motivates you to do it well and professionally and perhaps, you know, magically.
This might be similar to the other one, but is there anywhere special mentally, physically, or spiritually that you go to write your music or lyrics?
I meditate and I transform myself into an animal. Let me show you. Okay, I gotta be really quiet. I'm gonna do it. Change myself into an animal.
Has the band ever thought of writing songs or doing any acoustic material or things generally outside of bass, drums, and guitar? Is there a conscious decision not to, or just an avenue that hasn't been explored?
It's our lifelong dream to appear on MTV Unplugged.
All right. Considering that all of your albums have been progressively longer than the previous, will the new album be 2 CDs?
Yeah, who knows? Whatever it takes.
I was thinking 4.
When creating your music, do you prepare a special atmosphere in your rehearsal space in the studio to enhance the process in any way?
Lava lamps and incense.
No incense.
Not.
Incense sucks.
There's like a certain Mexican restaurant we all eat at some days just to kind of add aroma at some point.
I don't know where this guy got this, but I remember Blair mentioning a couple of times in his news posts and newsletters about Adam looking for socks backstage to wear up front. Notice that Adam will start the show in his shoes, then after a few songs, he takes off his shoes and plays the rest of the show in his socks. Why do you do that, Adam? Is it rocker fashion, or is there another reason?
I was raised by wolves. I'm more comfortable using foot pedals with my bare feet. I trigger a synthesizer with a kind of a Taurus type foot pedal called a PK5. If I have shoes on, a lot of times I hit 2 keys instead of just 1. I'm much more comfortable that way.
Excellent. Justin, I heard that you use Demeter preamps. Is this true? And if so, hang on, do you use them only in a studio or on the stage or both? I also heard that you use a Zoom pedal. Is that more for a constant tone or just effects?
Not sure what a Zoom pedal is. I do use a Demeter preamp for a nice, clean, pretty direct, clean sound. So that there's always like the main body of the sound is kind of preserved. So whatever else you do with an amplifier, you never really lose anything. And I use that live and in the studio. I've got to get myself one of those Zoom pedals, definitely.
Yeah, we'll find out what that is and get you one.
Definitely.
Maybe even be free. This is about Jimi Hendrix. The Experience or First Rays of the New Rising Sun. You can only choose one.
The Experience.
I think you're going to like this one, Justin, even though the name's not spelled right. England was all rainy and depressing, and they have bad food too. I was in England once, and it was expensive. What do you say? Yeah, England's spelled
England.
Englind.
England.
But then
England has the best breakfast in the world, and the beer's really nice too. Food's actually not bad in England at all. Top sausages.
Yeah, we know. We get the England's great.
Got it?
Yeah.
I can answer for him.
He's over there.
All right. Well, we got Danny here with this question for Danny called the gong. So I guess it's about that. Danny, will you make use of the gong in the next album? You're going to bang the gong.
Yeah, several gongs.
I'd like to add, is the gong can the gong ever be too loud?
Never. You want that porthole to the other dimension to be open as wide as possible.
All right. When you reached the point you were ready to record, what did it feel like the first time you played the finished version with the rest of the guys, especially with that energy at the end?
I think you wrote your whole drum part and then played it with us and went, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
All right. There you have it.